Right, morning all, welcome back. This is going to be project bash plate number 9. Now today I just got to drill some holes in it and then find a way of spacing behind those holes so that when I bolt the thing on it doesn't squeeze up against the frame. Obviously we have to have this distance from the frame. If it's on the top bracket that's working quite well, and I've got to do something similar with these. It's a bit difficult. I've got to locate the bolts themselves. Where there's 4 bolts on the frame that support bracket holds the 2 frame rails together, I'm going to take that off and use those bolt holes, utilise what you have and all the rest of it. And in that sense currently it's difficult to find them sort of from behind accurately, so there's a couple of ways to do it and I'm going to try both and see which one works the best. So there we are, stick around, stay tuned and let's see how it goes. Right, those on headphones, excuse the noise, it's that little fella keeping my ass warm. It's about 6 degrees in there this morning. Okay, now these are the bolts in question, and as y'all can see they sit kind of inside this area, and if I bolt to here, so even if these heads were to stick out just a little bit I could just press something against them and get an impression and then I know where to drill, but currently they are inside so I can't. But I'm going to back them out enough and hopefully they'll sit proud, and then I can use that as a way to press the bash plate against. You'll see what I mean in a minute, and that's all I need to do today is to drill those 4 holes and then find a way of backing the bash plate with something substantial so that when you bolt it on it doesn't go any closer than the required sort of 6mm that I've got up here. So there we are, that's all it is. I'm going to back these out, see how far they come out and if I can make them protrude, and then I've got something that will stick out that I can actually measure. There we go, see how it goes. Right. The idea is these 4 bolts, just put them in by a thread only and hopefully they should stick proud, just proud of the, yep. So now they stick out proud of the frame. I can press something against there. That's it. And then get an impression of exactly where they are so I know where to drill. Easy. Easy. Alright, so we need a surface for this to bear against, or for those bolts to press into, that's soft enough to yield an impression. Now I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but I quite like this way. Right, this might not work at all. Let's see. That's it, let's get you in there. There we go. Right, let's see if it can make it work. I suppose you've got to bolt it in at the top. You've got the correct. That's it. And bolt that up reasonably close at the top, and then with that right, so on the bolts just holding it so it's perfectly placed. Right, let's see if that's made an impression. Oh, there we go. 4 neat little circles. Perfect. Let's show you. There we are. Got 4 pretty perfect impressions. So that's giving me roughly where they are. Honestly, that is only roughly. So that's giving me, I can start drawing a grid on that now and get an idea for where to drill. Get a pencil and a ruler out. Right, just bolstering up the impressions that were made with a pencil and then go away. just using the straightness of the edges to try and square it all. 40, 40, 40, 40. Perfect. You need to make that permanent. What I've got to do with these holes is just poke a hole in the middle of each one of those. So they are 12mm across, so we come to 6. Just give myself a point to draw against and for the centre punch. Right, focus. One hit wonder. Right, roughly good. That's it. Right, cone drill. Now I need the holes in this to be the same as that, obviously. And then coming down the drill, they get to the 10mm step. So 10mm holes, easy. I can slot them afterwards with a file. One more. Right. Right, let's bolt it on. Let's see if those 4 holes are anywhere near lining up. That's a bit loose. Some slightly longer bolts. So there we are. That's given me the first time the whole thing has been fitted on in place. There we go. Screw that in. And obviously that's a little bit close. And that's it bolted in with the 4th one done. Now the problem is, obviously, if we just back that off a bit, there's a gap behind there between this and the frame it's screwing into. So that's no good because you can't pull them up tight. If you try to, you'll just cave that front in. So they need something to back them at the suitable distance out from the frame, so that when they wind home, that's it, they're solid. And I've got a cunning plan. I'll show you what I'm going to use. Take this right. Now the plan is to take one each of day and night to come on in down here. Now this little doodah goes on there because that still has to be in place, irrespective of the bash plate. That still has to be there because it braces these two together. And you know what the dealer's like, if you miss something out then you get a problem. So that's got to go on there. That will be one thing. And then the big one, do it this way. Where's Penny when you need her? Right, there we are. Now that will act as a spacer, because if you can look just at an angle, it comes just proud of the frame, just, and that's all I need. I want it about 6mm, 5 or 6mm away, and that's fine, because if I put a washer on that end, you know, it will be a case of that will be welded. I'll tell you what I mean. I shall weld that to there and then put a washer on the end, and that will be the exact height, so that when that's bolted up tight it doesn't pinch into the frame and it still leaves a gap between these edges. They are, I think, 12 or 10mm threads, and as I need a 10mm hole, I'm going to drill out all the contents of these nuts to start with, so they're all just tubes, because at the moment that will just get awkward and difficult and start interfering with what I'm doing. So 8 bolts to drill out. One. Just put more in there, and then I won't distribute them around the garage floor. Donations of a pillar drill will be greatly accepted. Right, and as they are what look like cadmium plated, I've got to get that off before I can weld them, because it makes a nasty poisonous gaseous emission, and I like to live. Right, 8. Right, there we are. Done. All done and ready. Well, almost ready. I've done the sides so that they weld nice, but I think what I want to do is get that plating off there as well. It's my health, and if they're CAD plated they give off some nasty stuff, a bit like galvanising. They're not, they're just mild steel nuts, but prep is good, we like prep. So they've just got to be tacked in place, kind of one at a time. Just go on there, around all 6 sides, just a big tack on each one. There's no point in trying to seam weld around it, and then there'll be beef. They're a 12mm hole, so I didn't take those threads out, no need, but they're out to 10, which means that they're not going to interfere with bolting on the new bolts. Now I could do those, could get the welder out now and crack on, but that's just to get to there, get in those holes. Had to elongate that one very slightly, as you can see, just to dress them so they're absolutely perfect and the thing fits on with adjustment in all 4 directions, so it's nice and adjustable and fits on the bike perfectly, because the fit and finish is what it's about. So 2.5 hours I've been at this now, roughly, and it was probably half an hour raking around in there for those bolts, which I'm not going to use anyway. In some respects I'm quite glad I can't find that 4th one, because they're not heavy enough to be proper stainless. Proper marine stainless would weigh twice that, and I'm going to get those. I may not even go for Allen bolts, because that would just fill up with cack. It's right down there in that front belly of the bike. It's going to literally bead blasted the whole time with stuff off the tyre, so I may go for some else thing, perhaps just regular bolts, something a bit fancy, I don't know. Sky's the limit. We've got Screwfix or Allfix near us, and they've got some amazing options. So I shall go on my way to work today. What is it now? It's 11 o'clock. I leave at about 12:30, and I think I'll leave a bit early, and I'll get the right fasteners for the job. Right, that's it for now. That'll do. Number 9. Prep, it just takes ages, you know. Just grinding the plating and finish off those 8 nuts has taken 15 minutes. You know, it just goes on and on. That's what projects are. I've been following Rick Fick's build of his Chevy Nova for about 3 years nearly. and it's still nowhere near finished. That's the way projects go. You're either in for the long haul or you're not, and that's why you see so many unfinished projects for sale. People think that they take on a bike, I'm going to build a bike, and 2 years down the line they're still nowhere even halfway done. They've bolted the frame together, they've stuck the engine in, they've put the wheels in, and I think they've got a bike. Then they realise they've actually done about a fifth of the work, and that's where they go on eBay for sale. Unfinished project, all the hard work done. Don't even go there, don't buy them either. They're usually bodged to death. Right, so that's just a bash plate. I've got a little bit further forward today. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for all your kind support. Thanks for the comments, much appreciated. Take it easy, ride safe, and I will see you for the next one.